Hello there, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm talking about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. Big long name, I don't know why they chose it. But this is going to be a hands-on review and my thoughts about this camera. First, I'm going to be talking about a few bad things, and then the things I like about the camera, and a bit about the usability and functions that this camera has. There's a few bad things I need to talk about, and I feel like I might be a bit biased because I've been a Blackmagic shooter for a few years now, but I still need to talk about the poor quality control that Blackmagic design has. I think it's just unacceptable for a company that big to be not on top of their game. The first unit I received around a month ago, I was going to do the review on that camera, so I was just in the office testing a few clips, trying batteries out, and the camera burned on the second clip I recorded. It didn't power on again, it just got very hot, and that was the end of that. So my review had to wait. So naturally I was very annoyed that the camera had worked for less than 15 minutes. I took it out of the box, recorded 2 clips, and it died on me. Another thing I have to mention is that in both units I got, the battery door sometimes got stuck and it wouldn't open. You try it with your nails and it just wouldn't open. And there's no way for you to take out the battery with the door stuck. So this is something that, in my opinion, is a design flaw, and Blackmagic should be testing these things before they begin shipping cameras out to the world. The third thing I'm going to talk about is that in both units the battery got stuck inside, and this is something that you do not want happening. When you're in a shoot, you might lose the ability to capture a shot, and this is very bad. I actually was shooting with the Ronin S and the battery was stuck, so I had to take the camera out of the Ronin S, try to take the battery that was jammed inside the battery compartment, and this took me like 15 minutes trying to figure out why it's not coming out. So these small details should not be happening for a company this big. So Blackmagic, if you're listening, please make sure that your cameras work correctly before you begin shipping it into the world, because you don't want small things like that happening. People like me are going to make videos about it and your name is going to be tarnished. So make sure the cameras work before you begin shipping them. I pre-ordered my camera back in April and I still have not received it. The last 3 shoots I actually have rented the camera from the guys in Camera Kit here in Dublin, Ireland. And actually guys, if you want to get your hands in the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera to try it out or to use it on shoots, the guys in Camera Kit are actually giving everybody a 10% discount in the rental price all the way to the 31st of January. So if you want to get your hands in this camera, give them a call, check the website, and all you need to do is mention hiluiscameraman when you're paying, and they will give you a 10% discount on your rentals. Make sure to check Camera Kit's website here. A while back I ordered a bunch of LP60 batteries from Amazon. I use them to power my Video Assist 4K monitor, which is the one I'm using to record this video so I can look at myself and stuff. These cheap batteries actually don't work very well with the Pocket Cinema camera. In average they give you around 25 to 30 minutes of constant recording. I did 2 tries here in the office, let the camera recording constantly until the battery died off. So 25 to 30 minutes is not good at all. Thankfully, there's a company producing very cool high capacity LP60 batteries. They're called Hanel. I put a link in the video description where you can find these batteries. With those high capacity batteries, I think they're 2000 milliamp hours. You can get around 45 minutes of battery life with the Hanel batteries, which is very cool, because you don't want to be changing batteries too often. In my last 2 shoots, I actually took 4 Hanel batteries and I was able to shoot the whole day without any issues. I was shooting with the Pocket and the Ronin S, so whenever I had to change the battery, I actually took that time to rest. As the setup is a bit heavy, it's not as heavy as shooting with the Ursa Mini and the Ronin M, but it's heavy, so some of you might not be able to handle long durations. So if you're a strong person, you won't even notice the weight. Pairing the Pocket Cinema camera and the Ronin S is just amazing. The quality of shots and the mobility introduces a new dynamic to your videos and your clients will be blown away. Also, the Pocket Cinema camera has a 12-volt DC power connection. For those shoots where you're indoors, you'll never have to worry about battery life because the camera will be powered from the mains. You can run a full day shooting if you wanted to. Say you're doing a documentary or a conference, you're sorted. So this gives you the ability to shoot in different scenarios. If you're going to be shooting outdoors, make sure to get proper batteries. That will give you a long battery time, 45 minutes to an hour. And if you're going to be shooting indoors, use the DC power adapter, you're sorted. The Pocket Cinema camera has 3 function buttons in the top. I personally use them, one's for false color, the second one for focus peaking, and the third one for look on and off. and this gives you very fast access to the things you'll be going to use in the most. It also has 3 dedicated buttons in the top, one for white balance, one for ISO, and one for shutter speed, which gives you very fast access when you're in those shooting scenarios but you can't waste time and you need to make changes to the camera fast. So this is a plus. So in the overall ergonomics, once you get used to where the buttons are, you actually have access to every single setting on the camera. So this will make the camera an extension of your arm, and it will not get in the way when you're creating cool videos. So the less you have to think about how to change setting in the camera, the more time you're using to actually shoot your productions. The Pocket Cinema camera, as you all know, can be used with the speed boosters or the Virtux. This allows you to use your EF lenses or your Sony lenses and prevents you from having to invest a small fortune into new Micro Four Third lenses. I own a lot of lenses that I use with my big camera, so buying a Metabone or the Virtux adapter just makes it easy and more cost effective than actually buying new lenses. The dual native ISO is actually a great addition to the Pocket Cinema camera. With the low gain of 400 and the high gain at 3200, this allows you to shoot in very different scenarios and allows you to capture the best possible looking footage with the less amount of noise. You also have to take into consideration that the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera comes with a DaVinci Resolve Studio version. So say that you have to take your ISO to a level that you wouldn't be comfortable with and you get some noise, DaVinci Resolve Studio has a dedicated tool to take the noise away. So this camera now works in every single scenario, and if you happen to get some noise in your footage, you can get rid of it with DaVinci Resolve Studio. Also, I forgot to mention, the noise pattern in the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera is nothing like the fixed pattern we see in the past from other cameras from Blackmagic. This noise is very organic and it's very easy to remove with DaVinci Resolve or denoise or whatever tool you're using. Let's talk a bit about the media capabilities of this camera. You can record directly to an external SSD via the USB-C connection. You can use CFast cards if you happen to have them like me and not buy them because they're very expensive, or you can record into SD cards, which are very cheap. So this is a great improvement, and no other camera in the market has greater flexibility when referring to the media you use to store your files. The color science. We all know that Blackmagic has an impressive color science and the post-production tools to make that color pop. The Pocket 4K matches perfectly with my Ursa Mini, and this is going to be my go-to camera as a B camera from now on. And for almost all my gimbal work, I'm going to be using the Pocket Cinema camera because now I don't have to bring my big camera with the Ronin M and an easy rig. Let's talk about the main thing I love about this camera. The Pocket 4K has a massive screen. If you're used to shooting in DSLRs or mirrorless cameras, you know you can't rely 100% on those small screens on your focus. So this is a no-go for me. So some people actually have to bring an external monitor. So this makes your rig bigger and heavier. The Pocket 4K actually fixes this issue. You have a massive screen in the back with focus assist, and you are going to be 100% sure every time that your shot is in focus. Check out this clip here. This was shot at 70mm at f1.8 outside in direct sunlight, and I was 100% sure that my shot was in focus because I could clearly see the screen in the back of the camera. So this allows me to be 100% sure my shots are in focus, in location, and it gives me the peace of mind to create freely. One of the things that might be a compromise is the dynamic range. If you compare the dynamic range of the Pocket Cinema camera against the Ursa Mini 4.6K, you will clearly see a difference. And this will be very apparent when you're shooting outside in very high dynamic range scenes. Check out this clip here. It was shot directly towards the sun. You can actually see the highlights are being clipped, and the retention of details in the shadows is not as great as my big camera. But I actually found that the fallout in the highlights is actually very soft, and it's not edgy like in DSLR cameras, where you can clearly see a cut where the camera is not capturing any more information. Even though the lack of high dynamic range is something you need to be aware of, I don't think this will be a deal breaker for anybody. It's just something that you need to be aware of when shooting your scenes. Like on my Mavic 2 Pro and the Ursa Mini, 10-bit color space is a must, and it's something that I appreciate a lot since my early days doing videos with DSLRs. The Pocket 4K is a 10-bit camera and it handles color amazingly, and I can push the footage very far in post before seeing any noticeable color degradation. My last shoot with the Pocket Cinema camera was actually indoors, with very different lighting conditions, mixed light, and very low light scenarios. The dual native ISO allowed me to shoot in this location, pushing my ISO to levels I wouldn't normally use in any other camera, and be 100% sure that the noise was going to be minimal and I could rely on the camera. The Pocket 4K is actually a very light camera and it's constructed with some carbon alloy plastic. I've read online some people are complaining about this and don't like the fact that the outer body is plastic, but I would greatly sacrifice the weight because I could use this camera in gimbal and allows me to shoot for longer periods of time without fatigue. Like if this camera was constructed like the Ursa Mini, all with a metal body, the weight would be significantly greater, so this will be a compromise for me. In most of my productions, the Pocket Cinema camera will be used with the Ronin S, so the fact that this is a very light camera, it allows me to pair with longer lenses or bigger lenses like the Tamron 24-70, which is a very heavy lens, but paired with the Pocket Cinema camera, it's still light and it fits in the Ronin S. And I can shoot for longer periods of time without killing my arm. The fact that I can incorporate the footage out of the Pocket Cinema camera into my productions and match it perfectly with my Ursa Mini 4.6K, it means that I need to spend less time in post-production, so this is very cool. In the past, I've shot with the Panasonic GH5S, you can see my review here. I've also shot with the A7S Mark I, Mark II and Mark III, and although those cameras are great in their own right and are amazing for doing still photos, I think the video capabilities of the Pocket Cinema camera just goes way beyond. For example, the menu system in Sony cameras is just very messy. If you want to change something in the A7S, the FS5 or the FS7 and you're not familiar with the subfolder menu in Sony, you're gonna spend a lot of time trying to figure it out or spend a lot of time checking in your phone how-to videos when you're in a location, and you don't want to spend time doing that. You want to spend the time creating content. Also, the Blackmagic color science is amazing. I remember when I was shooting with Sony cameras, the color science is just not there. Skin tones look weird, people look yellow. Another thing is handling S-Log footage. S-Log is a very peculiar log footage, and you have to overexpose to retain detail in the shadows because the shadows are very noisy. Those things might get in the way when you're in a location and you need to focus on creating content and not having to figure out how many stops you're going to overexpose or underexpose because your shadows are going to be noisy. If I had to choose an alternative to the Pocket Cinema camera, it would 100% be the Panasonic GH5S. The color science is amazing. I think they both use the same sensor, the Pocket Cinema camera and the GH5. So if someone forced me to choose another camera besides the Pocket Cinema camera, it would definitely be the Panasonic GH5S. I love that camera. I've shot stills photos with it, I shot video with it. It works very good in the gimbal and it pairs with my lenses, so it's an amazing camera. The Pocket Cinema camera has the ability to record in log internally, and you can preview a LUT, which allows you to see your scene as closely as you're going to see it in your finished product. You can load your own LUTs if they're stylistic LUTs, and this is something great to have in camera while you're in a location. Another thing that the Pocket has, I don't know if I'll be using it as much, but you can actually bake a LUT into your footage internally. I think this might be a nice feature to have if you need to deliver the footage very promptly and you don't have time to spend in post-production in color grading. So there you go, baking LUTs internally in the Pocket Cinema camera. So in conclusion, is this camera for everybody? Probably not, but it's the closest we have gotten to perfection. I think Blackmagic has a solid product here and it's a great improvement over the previous Pocket Cinema camera. The fact that this camera has a massive screen, you don't need to carry an extra monitor to make sure your shots are in focus, and also you can pair this camera with gimbals and it's very light and portable. The fact that you can shoot RAW internally gives that bit of extra flexibility for those looking to shoot RAW video. As always, thanks for watching guys. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. If you're subscribed already, I'd send you a big man hug from Dublin, Ireland, and I'll catch you next time.